Last week, we rode out a winter storm at Fernandez Bay, visited New Bight Settlement, explored Cat Island's highest point and the Hermitage, and spotted curious sharks at Hawk's Nest Marina. Calabash Bay, Long Island, is our next port of call, a 32 nautical mile upwind run. The northwest end of the island is known as Cape Santa Maria, named after one of Christopher Columbus's ships, from which he made landfall here. Calabash Bay runs along the shore just south of Cape Santa Maria. This large bay offers protection from the east-northeast to the east-southeast and good holding in 6 to 15 feet of crystal clear water and a nice sandy bottom with excellent holding. Here you can enjoy one of the island's most beautiful beaches, and patch reefs offshore at the northern end offer excellent snorkeling, diving, and fishing. The first item on the itinerary is to visit the Columbus Monument, entailing a brief dinghy ride through Hoosie Harbour, a sand flat navigable by dinghy with a channel marked by buoys and channel markers. We make our way through the creek lined with mangroves and arrive at a small dock where we secure the dinghy. After a 2-mile walk up Queens Highway, we reach our destination. The Long Islanders Association built the Columbus Monument and Lucayan Memorial in 1989 on the highest point on Long Island and the second highest point in the Bahamas. After lunch at the Sunset Restaurant prepared by Long Island resident and retired educator Rodney, we verify the location of a blue hole in Hoosie Harbour that Rodney had previously mentioned. Its visibility looked poor, so we wait to dive it when the visibility improves. Oh my gosh, a huge fish. I don't know what. Back on Coquina, it's time for a little maintenance. Our West Marine dinghy requires minimal upkeep, but a slow leak has developed in the right pontoon. David located the source and applied a UV-cured urethane adhesive, which solved the problem. With 1,100 hours on our 2-year-old next-gen generator, it's time to perform the scheduled oil change, which occurs every 100 hours of runtime. Today, the Bahamas marine forecast calls for west to northwest winds 15 to 20 knots this afternoon with frequent gusty periods, and northwest to north 15 to 20 knots before midnight. Long Island anchorages on the west coast have minimal protection from winds with a westerly component. The winds have been over 20 knots sustained, gusting to 25 knots, and the seas are 4 feet. We stay in today and get computer work done. Even Cooper is feeling a little seasick. As the windy day spent on computer work nears its end, we feel a sudden and sharp jolt.
So the bridle just broke. Bridle just broke.
The right line of the bridle snapped. Our anchor bridle is essential due to its ability to substantially decrease the strain from the chain on the windlass. Without the bridle, the chain will run out in this wind and swells.
Yeah, my little safety is on, see? So.
David installs a Dyneema safety line from the windlass to a nearby cleat, which keeps the chain from running out, but we feel this alone will not last through the night. The bridle absorbs sudden shock loads from waves or wind gusts, and without it, we feel the shock from the wind and the waves.
The bridle must be repaired at once, and David begins by tying the broken end of the line to the claw, but shortly after, it too snaps.
It's 20-knot wind. It's supposed to stay this way until midnight. We're in 7 feet of water.
Then he constructs a snubber using components from the spare 5/8 inch anchor line on board. He attaches the end, equipped with a thimble spliced to the line. to the claw using a shackle, then threads the rope through the roller into the anchor locker and secures it to the cleat positioned adjacent to the winch. As the sun sets, we address the next hurdle to protect the temporary snubber line from wear. Initially, we notice wear at the anchor roller and install clear tubing as an anti-chafe guard. As night descends, we monitor the setup every half hour, holding our breath, and although working in the dark presents significant challenges, the snubber holds firm as the wind and waves gradually subside.
Edit that out. These are the worst.
Thankfully, the snubber holds until morning, and we have time to inspect the failure point, which was at the end of the splice.
Failure happened.
We're leaving Long Island, Calabash Bay, and heading to Georgetown for some repairs.
Next, it's on to Georgetown for supplies to rebuild a new bridle. We head into Georgetown to the hardware store for replacement anchor line, and then to Brown's Marine for thimbles for the new bridle. As night descends, we take the time to enjoy the last of the setting sun and the constellation of mooring lights from sailboats in the harbors. The next day, we move Coquina to Red Shanks anchorage, 4 nautical miles south of Kidd Cove. It offers protection from an oncoming cold front and mooring balls, and best of all, its proximity to Brown's Marine, which we are now regulars due to the bridle rebuild project. It's time to design the new bridle, and we hit a snag.
Not happy with what I see.
You're not happy? Why not?
Well, these two thimbles don't want to share a shackle, it turns out.
What could go wrong?
Chafing. This one will dig into that line. See
Oh,
right there?
yeah.
We realize that the thimbles and line may chafe in the bow shackle. Additional shackles reduce the potential for the lines and thimbles to wear against each other. Using 5/8 inch diameter triple strand nylon line, David splices the lines around the thimbles. Next, David installs chafe guards to protect against rubbing with the whisker poles and measures the length of each leg, which will be 18 feet, 50% longer than the old bridle. This helps reduce lateral forces on the lines and shock load on the anchor. Then he splices the last 2 thimbles into the bridle.
It's time to assemble the bridle to the boat at the bow eyes using long shackles. The longer legs and the larger line will offer greater protection riding out high winds and seas.
With the week ending, we're looking forward to exploring the exciting opportunities and adventures in Great Exuma.